In the quiet corners of faith, beyond the veil of the ordinary, lie mysteries that have captivated hearts for centuries. Welcome to a journey through time, tradition, and transcendence. This is Join Me as we explore these 5 pivotal moments. For in these mysteries we find not just historical accounts, but a roadmap for the soul, a testament to hope, and an invitation to look upwards, towards the light that never fades. It begins in the silence of a tomb, the 3rd day after crucifixion. A stone rolled away, grave clothes left behind. No one saw it happen, but the world would never be the same. The resurrection of Jesus is the cornerstone of Christian belief. It is the ultimate victory over sin and death, the promise that life endures beyond the grave. Imagine the weight of that silence, the despair that hung heavy in the air after the cross. His followers, scattered and heartbroken, believed all was lost. The tomb, sealed and guarded, was a symbol of finality, of the ultimate power of death. Yet within that cold stone a power far greater was stirring. The earth held its breath, unaware of the cosmic reversal about to unfold. Then came the 3rd day, a phrase laden with significance, a promise whispered in ancient prophecies. The stone, a massive, seemingly insurmountable barrier, was found displaced, not shattered by force, but moved, as if by a gentle, irresistible will. Inside, the grave clothes lay empty, undisturbed. This poignant image has puzzled and inspired for centuries. No human eye witnessed the precise moment of resurrection. Its truth is not found in empirical proof, but in the transformed lives of those who first encountered the risen Christ. The empty tomb is not a void, but a space filled with an unquenchable hope, a light that continues to dawn in every soul that turns towards it. After 40 days of appearances, teachings, and miracles, Jesus stood with his disciples on the Mount of Olives. As they watched, he was lifted into the heavens. A cloud took him from their sight. This moment marks the transition of Christ from earthly life to heavenly glory. He ascends not to abandon, but to prepare a place for all who believe. What does it mean to ascend into divinity? Perhaps it is the call for each of us to rise above our limitations and glimpse the eternal. This departure was not an ending, but a new form of presence. The Mount of Olives, a place already steeped in prayer and poignant moments, became the stage for this final, visible act of his earthly ministry. Imagine the disciples, their hearts a mixture of awe, sorrow, and burgeoning understanding. They had just regained him from the clutches of death, and now he was to leave again. Yet this departure was different. It was not a descent into darkness, but an ascent into light. He moves from being them to being them, and in all who would come to believe. His departure is an act of love, a purposeful step in the divine plan for our salvation. Chapter 3. The Fiery Gift. The Descent of the Holy Spirit. 50 days after Easter, something extraordinary happened in an upper room. A sound like rushing wind filled the space. Tongues of fire rested upon the disciples, and they began to speak in languages they had never learned. This was Pentecost, the birth of the Church. The Holy Spirit, promised by Jesus, came to guide, comfort, and empower. It is a mystery of unity, transformation, and divine presence among humanity. The timing, 50 days after Easter, is deeply significant. Pentecost was originally a Jewish harvest festival, celebrating the giving of the law on Mount Sinai. Now, it becomes the day of a new kind of harvest, the harvest of souls. The disciples were gathered, waiting, perhaps uncertain of what form this promised advocate would take. Suddenly, the atmosphere in that upper room was charged with an unseen energy. A sound like rushing wind filled the space. Then came the visual manifestation. Tongues of fire rested upon the disciples. Fire, another potent symbol of God's presence, of purification and of divine zeal. This event, Pentecost, is rightly called the birth of the Church. The Spirit transformed them from a fearful, huddled group into courageous proclaimers of the risen Christ. Chapter 4. Heaven's Embrace. the Assumption of Mary. Mary, the Mother of God, lived a life of humility and grace. According to Catholic teaching, at the end of her earthly life, she was taken, body and soul, into heaven. This event, known as the Assumption, is more than a miracle. It is a sign of hope, a promise that humanity can share in divine glory. Why Mary? Because she embodies the perfect response to God's call, a life fully surrendered, fully blessed. Her story is a testament to the extraordinary destiny that awaits a life lived in complete accord with divine will. Her life from the moment of the Annunciation was a continuous yes to God, a yes uttered in humility, lived out in quiet service, and maintained through joys and profound sorrows. The teaching of the Assumption posits that Mary, having been preserved from original sin by a unique grace, was also spared the corruption of the grave at the end of her earthly journey, taken body and soul into heaven. This event is more than a miracle, it is a sign of hope. If a human being, one of us, could be so united with God as to be assumed into heavenly glory, then it speaks volumes about the ultimate destiny intended for all humanity. Mary's Assumption is a preview, a first fruit of the redeemed creation. It is a promise that humanity can share in divine glory. Chapter 5. The Queen of Mercy, the Coronation of Mary. In the courts of heaven there is a throne unlike any other. Upon it sits a queen, not of power or pride, but of mercy and intercession. Crowned in glory, Mary reigns beside her Son. Not as a ruler, but as a mother, she watches over the faithful, guiding them toward Christ. This final mystery reminds us that true greatness lies in service, and that love, not conquest, is what ultimately rules the universe. The imagery of the courts of heaven evokes a realm of unimaginable splendor and perfect order, where God's glory is fully manifest. Within this celestial realm, Mary's coronation signifies her exalted status, a recognition of her unique role as Theotokos, the God-bearer. Yet her throne is unlike any other because its foundation is not worldly dominion, but the profound humility and selfless love that characterized her earthly life. She is queen because she was first the most humble of handmaidens. She is a queen not of power or pride, but of mercy and intercession. Her queenship is not about wielding authority for its own sake or demanding fealty. Instead, it is an expression of her maternal care, her boundless compassion for humanity. She intercedes for us, bringing our needs and prayers before her Son. Crowned in glory, Mary reigns beside her Son, not as a ruler, but as a mother. Her position next to Christ, the King of Kings, is one of intimate communion and shared purpose. She watches over the faithful, guiding them toward Christ. This final mystery reminds us that true greatness lies in service. The glorious mysteries are not just ancient stories, they are living truths. Each one invites us to pause, reflect, and reconnect with something greater than ourselves. They remind us that even in darkness, there is resurrection. Even in absence, there is ascension. Even in confusion, there is divine guidance. And even in our frailty, there is the promise of glory. These mysteries are not meant to be understood fully, but to be contemplated deeply. They form a luminous tapestry, woven with threads of hope, triumph, and divine love. The glorious mysteries are more than prayers. They are echoes of eternity, calling us home. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share,